My girlfriend said, "The paternity test is a fake. I swear that baby isn't his, it's yours." I replied, "Maybe you are right." I waited until the baby shower. Then I showed her father the signed lab report. The DNA sample I submitted wasn't mine. It was from the friend. When her father saw the 99.9% match, I, 32, male, had been with Alara, 30, for 5 years. I was a biomedical engineer for a medical device company in Salt Lake City, Utah, earning a salary of $155,000. She was a lifestyle influencer and content creator, her income a fluctuating $90,000 a year. We lived in a modern, minimalist house in the Marmalade district that she used as a constant backdrop for her social media. Our life was a performance, curated for her brand. We dined at photogenic restaurants like Log Haven and spent weekends on sponsored trips to ski resorts. Our friends were her friends, a circle of influencers and brand strategists. Don't miss the twist. Subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. The opportunity that would ultimately shatter this carefully constructed life arrived on a crisp autumn morning. A leading biotech research firm in La Jolla, California, offered me a position. They wanted me to lead a new division developing next-generation prosthetic limbs. The offer was a dream. It included a base salary of $300,000, a significant equity stake, and a state-of-the-art research lab. The only issue, in Alara's eyes, was the location. I laid out the details for her that evening. She scrolled through the offer on my tablet with a cool, detached expression. "La Jolla?" she asked, a small, dismissive laugh in her voice. "You want to leave the mountains for the beach. The influencer market there is completely saturated, Theo." I tried to explain the scale of the work, the leadership role, the financial freedom it would give us. "My entire brand is built on a mountain chick, wellness aesthetic," she said, cutting me off. "My followers don't care about surf culture. It's not a serious option for my career." She considered the topic closed. Update 1. I told Alara I would turn down the position to keep the peace. In reality, I was in daily, confidential contact with the firm, finalizing the complex details of my employment contract. Believing she had successfully managed my unrealistic ambitions, she grew more openly dismissive. She would tell the story of my little science project to her friends at brunch. "Theo almost moved us to the beach to build robot legs," she would say, and her friends would laugh politely. Can you imagine? Their laughter was a constant, subtle reminder of how little they valued my work. My ambition was invisible to them because it wasn't photogenic. I was the quiet, stable boyfriend of a rising social media star. I began to prepare for a future she couldn't comprehend. I engaged a financial advisor to manage my new income stream. I opened new, private bank accounts. I started researching modern, ocean view condos in La Jolla. I began selling my custom-built ski equipment, telling her I was embracing a more minimalist, all-season lifestyle for her brand. Each move was a quiet, deliberate step away from the life she thought she controlled. Update 2. 1 month before my start date, with my contract signed and a temporary corporate apartment in La Jolla secured, I told her my decision was made. I sat her down in our sterile, white living room. I told her I had accepted the position and that my relocation was already in progress. I explained that I wanted her to come with me, that we could build a life based on shared passions, not just her social media feed. Her expression shifted from mild irritation to cold, calculated fury. "You did all of this behind my back?" she asked. "I tried to talk to you about it," I answered calmly. "You called it a science project." "Because that's what it is," she said. "This is our life. The life I have built for us. You built a brand," I replied quietly. I was just a part of the set design. The conversation was brief and ended with the ultimatum I had been expecting. "You can have this life with me, or you can have your little robot lab in California," she said. "Choose." I looked at the woman who saw my greatest achievement as a threat to her online aesthetic. The choice was not about a city or a job. It was about my own self-respect. "I choose the lab," I said. Update 3. The final weeks in our Salt Lake City house were a tense, silent performance. Alara moved into the guest room. She was either out at events with her friends or locked in her room, communicating only through formal, clipped texts. She would cycle through periods of dramatic, tearful pleading and long stretches of icy, punishing silence. Her apologies felt hollow, like strategic maneuvers to regain control. I remained calm and focused on my departure. I packed my belongings, the minimalist house feeling emptier and more soulless with each box I sealed. On the day of the move, she was gone. She had left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'll have my lawyer send over the paperwork. I wish you well." It was the kind of impersonal sign off one would give to a former business associate. My first morning in La Jolla was a revelation. I woke up to the sound of waves and the smell of salt in the air. I drove my new Lucid Air to the biotech campus, a stunning, state-of-the-art facility overlooking the Pacific Ocean. For the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Update 4. I threw myself into my new role. The work was even more challenging and rewarding than I had imagined. I built a world-class team, and within 6 months, we filed a major patent for a new neural interface technology. Away from the constant social posturing of Salt Lake City, I felt a sense of freedom and purpose I had not realized I was missing. I made new friends, people who were more interested in surfing and technology than in being seen at the right parties. My financial life was transformed. After filing the patent, I received a performance bonus of $80,000. I was building a life of substance, not just style. Then, the news came. A few months after I left, Elara announced her pregnancy on social media, framing it as a surprise blessing that came just as her life was taking a new direction. The timing was suspicious. I thought back to her close friendship with Ruz, a photographer she worked with frequently. The paternity test is a fake lie was already forming in her mind. I was sure of it. She was laying the groundwork. My old Salt Lake City network started to reach out. "Heard you're doing big things." One text read. I kept my replies polite and brief. Update 5. Our company's new patent was featured in a major tech journal. The article praised the innovative technology and profiled me as the new director of biomedical research leading the project. It included a professional photo of me. Elara saw the article. Her first text in almost a year was a link to the article with a single, stunned question mark. Our mutual friend James called me that weekend. "I feel like a complete fool," he said. "Elara told everyone you had a breakdown and took some low-level lab tech job. She made it sound like your career was over." The article had exposed her carefully crafted narrative of my failure. My parents called soon after, their voices filled with pride and relief. Update 6. A month later, she showed up unannounced at my condo in La Jolla. She was visibly pregnant. She said she was in town for a wellness brand summit. She looked tired, her usual sharp confidence replaced by a strained, fragile energy. I let her in, and she looked around my beautiful ocean view home with a mixture of envy and disbelief. "You've built a whole new world," she said. She told me she had made a terrible mistake. She said her life in Salt Lake City felt empty, that her career was stalling. She insisted she had changed and wanted another chance, for the sake of our family. I listened patiently. When she finished, I just looked at her. "I saw your social media after I left," I said calmly. The posts from the ski resorts captioned "New Chapter." The picture of you and Rise at a photo shoot with the hashtag Creative Partners. It didn't look like regret, Elara. It looked like a victory lap. I was hurting, she insisted, her voice trembling. "You were rebranding," I replied. "And I am no longer part of your brand." I asked her to leave. Update 7. Her rejection triggered her most audacious and cruelest act. She filed a legal claim for child support, naming me as the father. Her lawyer sent a formal request for a paternity test. This was the moment she had been planning for months. When I initially hesitated, she launched a smear campaign among our old friends, claiming I was a deadbeat father abandoning his child. She called me, crying, accusing me of denying my own baby. Then she delivered the line that sealed her fate. She was trying to preemptively discredit a result she knew was impossible. My girlfriend said, "The paternity test is a fake. I swear that baby isn't his, it's yours." She was talking about Ruz, claiming any test that proved he was the father must be fraudulent. I replied, "Maybe you are right." I agreed to the test. But I had a plan. I knew Rise was a frequent guest at her house. I had a friend who still lived in her neighborhood. I had him retrieve a discarded water bottle from her recycling bin the morning after Ruz had been there for a content planning session. The lab was happy to extract a DNA sample from it. I submitted the sample from the water bottle to the lab under my own name. The results came back a week later. A 99.9% probability of paternity. Elara was triumphant. She believed she had won. Update 8. I waited until the baby shower. It was a lavish affair at her parents' country club. All of her friends and family were there. I walked in, and the room went silent. Elara looked at me, a mixture of shock and triumph in her eyes. She thought I had come to beg for forgiveness and accept my responsibilities. Then I showed her father, a prominent and respected judge, the signed lab report. He looked at it, confused. "This says you're the father," he said. "It does," I replied calmly. "But there's a problem." I handed him a second document. The DNA sample I submitted wasn't mine. It was from the friend. The second document was a certified report from a different lab, proving the DNA from the water bottle belonged to Roy's. When her father saw the 99.9% match between his grandchild and Roy's, the public humiliation was absolute and complete. Update 9. A year later, my life was stable and happy. I had been promoted to Vice President of Research and Development. My custom home in La Jolla was complete. I had met someone. Her name was Dr. Isabel Vance, a neuroscientist who worked at a nearby research institute. Our relationship was quiet, strong, and built on a foundation of mutual trust and intellectual respect. Elara sent one last, desperate email. The scandal had destroyed her career and her carefully curated brand. Ruz's own family life had imploded. Elara said she was sorry for everything. I typed a short, simple reply, "I wish you peace," and then I blocked her email address. Final update, I was the keynote speaker at a major biomedical engineering conference in Boston. After my speech, a woman approached me. It was Elara's mother. She looked older, tired. She told me she had followed my career and was incredibly proud of what I had accomplished. Then, she looked me in the eye. "I owe you an apology," she said, her voice heavy. "Elara had us all convinced you were the villain." When she said, "The paternity test is a fake," she was projecting. She was building a false narrative before the truth even had a chance to come out. "We are so deeply ashamed." As I flew back to La Jolla that night, I thought about her words. The lesson was brutal, but clear. You can never build a life with someone whose version of the truth is whatever serves their immediate needs. True partnership is built on a foundation of facts, not fiction. When I landed, Isabel was waiting for me. We drove home, talking about our plans to go sailing that weekend. My life was finally, truly my own.